What's up, guys? Welcome back to WCS America. You're watching the Challenger League group stage. We got 4 spots left in WCS America Season 2. 2 of them go today to our group involving J-Dong, Ian, Jim, and Drunkenboi. We're match 1 of the night. Jim is pretty good.
I mean, what happened there in Game 1, looks like the players are ready to get started. Game 1, Jim just out-macroed Drunkenboi.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, Jim's one of the best in the world, and he's just showing his skill here. The one thing that Drunkenboi did very well in Game 1, he controlled the harassment very well. Some of the mid-game harassment, the decision to do that was probably not fully thought out as it just died to Phoenixes. But in that initial engagement with the Marines, the Medevacs, the Hellions, he controlled that harass very well. And he controlled his defense well. The Oracle didn't really do too much damage, but just while he was controlling so well, he wasn't really keeping up with his SAV production, and Jim just got too far ahead.
Very just solid play again throughout there from Jim. Oracle opening. Pretty fancy stuff. We'll have to see if he changes things up here in Game 2. It's going to be on Akalon Waste in the top left-hand location. I present to you your red Protoss player from Team Invictus Gaming and hailing from China. Your red Protoss player, Jim. His opponent in the bottom right of Akalon Waste. Your blue Terran player from Team FXONA. Must win 2 in a row here to advance to the winner's match. He is Drunkenboi from Canada. Shout out to any Canadians watching. I hear the weather's nice up there in the summertime.
It's a great country.
It's colder up there in Canada, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Although it depends where you are. Like I was in Vancouver a couple of years back, and because Vancouver is so close to the
coast,
to the ocean,
it's a little bit more toasty.
Yeah.
But it gets a little cold fronts from Alaska.
Exactly. It's not that it gets hot. It's just that it never gets to the extremes because the ocean's
so it's basically perfect.
It is. It's kind of like San Francisco, Seattle. A lot of those. Well, I mean, you can rain a lot.
Yeah, Seattle's
rain
really rainy.
But as far as it never gets below freezing, it
Yeah.
never gets super hot. So you're never going to be freezing or too hot.
My extent of Seattle geography comes from, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but it comes from reading Twilight.
Really?
Have you read that book?
Is that?
The series?
I watched one of the movies.
This is like 4 years ago.
That's one with the wolves and the vampires, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have watched one of those movies.
Okay. It's like based in, I think, near Seattle. I don't know what the city is.
I thought it was rural maybe it's in the area.
Yeah, in the area,
okay,
right.
yeah,
where it's like always raining all the time, which is why vampires can thrive there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, less sun.
Yeah. It's very important. You want the cloudiness, right? As a vampire, it's important that you don't
That's good to know.
receive that direct sunlight. Yeah. So.
But as far as Drunkenboi's strategy for this game goes.
Right.
If you look at what happened last game.
Yes.
He actually did a really good job with the Widowmine drop. But as the game went on, he just fell too far behind in production. So I'd really like to see him go with some type of opening, but turn it into some crazy 2-base time. And on this map, this is one of the biggest maps where I've seen 2-base TVP builds really come to light as far as Hellbat drops on top of the army, and then of course SCVs, Marines, Marauders with that attack. We saw Illusion do that against Alicia in Premier League.
Yeah.
He won this map.
Speaking of raining Hellbats from Medevacs.
Exactly. I think we saw the Muslim do this against one of what was a really good Protoss. Max Zed. The Muslim beat Max Zed on this map. In the bracket stage, the Muslim beat Max Zed. And one of the things was on this map, it was that same type of build. It was you open a Widowmine drop.
We saw Illusion do it.
To help it. Yes.
Illusion was the guy who did it too. Remember that?
Yes. Versus Alicia.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's clearly a build that works against very, very good Protosses, and Terrans love it on this map. I think it's the best move for Drunkenbois to go for that build.
And to kind of explain the whole reasoning behind that, it feels like the current metagame in PvT, especially at the pro level, Protosses are seeing how much tech they can get away with because there's a unit called Militia Corps. Oh, well, hold that thought. We got a Zealot and a Stalker.
This is actually risky because now the units are stuck.
They're going behind enemy lines here. They're not stuck. They perfectly intend to be there. The question is, will they get out alive?
Which one's Owen Wilson?
Oh, there's. I'd say the Zealot, right?
Zealot. Let's see. Can he run? There's gotta be plenty of explosions behind him as he runs.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's gonna delay the command center.
Oh, he got his foot stuck on a landmine. What does he do?
He just runs.
You just run?
You just run really fast. If you ever seen the movie Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson, that's how you get rid of landmines. You run really, really fast. Marines are coming out. Marines should have cleaned this up, at least with the Widowmine's help. The Stalker's gonna... Oh! Stalker's gonna escape. Barely scratched at all.
Wow.
just some dust on its you know,
sometimes
exterior.
you have to make that excursion behind enemy lines and see what kind of damage you can do.
You know, that was really worth it. I was surprised that he didn't lose all the units. But he controlled it so well. Drunkenboi is, or excuse me, Jim is just, his control is immaculate.
Yeah, it was really well played. You can tell he's done that before.
Oh yeah.
Because this is, you know, this is one of those maps where like you're gonna see the same stuff from Terran as far as the opening is concerned. Now he was able to see this factory, so he can kind of guess what's coming up next.
I'm sure he's anticipating a Widowmine drop. I mean, it's exactly what happened last game. Of course, the follow-up is a little bit less obvious. You know, he's going to go to Hellbat drops, he's going to go a bunch of bio like he did last game. But as far as just the initial threat, and as a Protoss, what you want to do is you just want to make sure your mineral lines are safe as a priority. We saw that last game, you know, he was able to protect the mineral lines pretty well. Of course, area between them, you can kind of give that space up. And so the decision is, where do you put your gateway units, and which base do you prioritize the photon overcharge on? And what's cool about this is he's going to try to photon overcharge the main because he doesn't want anything even close to the main, because that's where the Dark Shrine is, and he does not want Drunkenboi to scout that Dark Shrine.
Good point. And that Dark Shrine is really tucked back in there. Now, did only Marines go in that medevac? It felt like the Widowmine was left back home. Yeah, there's only Marines in there, which is mildly interesting.
Where is the Widowmine?
It's a nice little subreddit on Reddit, if y'all have heard of that. But
Oh,
it's in the middle line of the
okay.
downtown. So you might be worried about potential Oracle shenaniganry, which is, you know, a sound thing to be worried about considering it happened in game 1, right? But we had the Marines here dropping in the main. I'm more worried about what they're going to scout. Oh, we got DTs already hitting in the main, so now we're going to have to see how Drunkenboi can react, already pulling his SCVs to his national expansion. How did that DT get in there? That took me off guard, man.
It just walked straight in.
It just walked in?
There was a proc supply in the bottom left. Can he kill enough probes to compensate for this DT chopping up his main?
He has to kill so many probes. Right now, workers killed is 8-4 in favor of Jim. Now 8-6, they're doing a decent job, but now 11. Okay, a DT is chopping up SCVs somewhere. Yep.
Yeah, a few more in the main. What he was able to do though, he's trying to put all his SCVs in a natural, and he's defending that first.
That's Stim. That's actually really important.
Oh no!
You can't can't lose Stim.
I mean, he can't save it.
The SCV was right there. Okay.
I mean, one SCV repairing.
He could try.
Yeah, he could try. You know, that's right. You should always put an effort towards it. You should always put an effort towards it.
All right.
His drop play's not done though. He's heading back in main with 3 Marines.
Yeah. I don't see that, especially when your opponent has Dark Shrine. I don't see that doing much.
No, not really anything.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That little pick off is nice.
And now, of course, his main is, he just needs to get one more scan for that CT in the main, and it should be stabilized. But the problem is that he's taken a lot of damage to these CTs. A ton of damage. And even more important than that, again, I think he might have been missing some of the SC production during that initial multitasking craziness. And he's just down by
11 workers killed.
Yeah, his economy's not looking happy here.
No. I dare say even worse than last game as far as, you know, where we stand in the game. And this is actually, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's worse than last game, except he has one ability to make the comeback.
Widowmines.
Maybe Widowmines.
Hellbats?
Hellbat drop, exactly.
Oh, is that what he's? Oh, yeah. There's arm. Well, he saw the Dark Templar saw the armory.
So Jim knows he's way ahead. There's a warp person now warping DTs in the main, and there's no missile turret there.
Oh no!
And look how he sends 1 DT, so when he scan, he can send in the next one.
Very smart.
This is just getting pretty bloody as far as
Jim is playing with his food a little bit here. That's what it feels like.
It is. It could be that. Also, could just be, you know, he doesn't want to risk things. He knows he's way ahead. You know, as far as macro goes, he just needs to make sure he doesn't take too much damage to any counterattack.
Yeah.
And speaking of counterattacks, the Hellbat drop's coming into the. I think it's hitting the main right about now. Oh, and there's nothing there. The probes aren't being pulled.
Where's the photon overcharge?
These probes are not having a fun time at all.
Okay, the probes aren't being pulled.
He's warping. I mean, he saw it happen. He's warping his stock. At a certain point, you actually don't want to pull probes because they might clump as he pulls.
Yeah.
So he's taking a lot of damage then.
The probes just have to hope they don't get singed away. Yeah,
and the medevac got away, which is the most important unit.
25 workers killed. Wow.
That's huge. You know what? How's the economy going for both players
He
now?
still only has 28 harvesters.
Oh.
And we have a lot of stalkers that have blink. And
this could be bad.
They're just gonna blink into the main here, targeting down that orbital command.
So what units does Drunkenboi have?
He doesn't have much. Maybe a Widowmine here or there. But Jim takes the 2-0. Wow, just a commanding play. He really wants the biggest ticket. And that was actually a pretty cool build. Like, I'm thinking about it a bit here. You know, I feel, how much of that do you think, when you go for that Zealot Stalker poke, I know it seems very simple, right? You're just sending the Zealot Stalker, and then you kind of sneak it by the bunker. But you have to think like what the Terran is doing in that situation, right? They're kind of worrying about, okay, there's a Zealot Stalker, this doesn't usually happen. And then who knows if they make a misclick here or there. And while that was happening, you know, you're putting the Twilight behind, you're getting the Dark Shrine down. You know, how much does that impact the build, and how much does it kind of help the Dark Templar play as far as trying to throw your opponent off guard a little bit with Zealot Stalker?
Well, it definitely slowed down Drunkenboi's build. I mean, the command turn was slowed by about 20 seconds, a few other things. And if that drop comes in a little faster, it hits before the DT is out, he sees the Dark Shrine, he raises his main. He raises the depots between his main and natural. And that's the most important thing a Terran can do.
So they can't sneak into the main there.
Exactly. What happened there is there was a DT in the main and natural, and he had one scan. Right?
So he had to pick which one to kill.
Exactly. And so he had to abandon the main there. That caused him to lose his stim. He also lost something like 14 SCVs, as we saw. He scanned the natural. Now imagine if he had a depots race.
Yes.
He scans a natural.
Kills two DTs that are there, probably.
Or I think he was sending him one at a time. So whatever, but kills one, builds a turret of natural, and he's safe until the War Prism comes in, which of course it's going to be much later. So it was really just a matter of him not having to wall. The reason why Terrans build that wall, one of the big reasons is against DT roam buys, and he just didn't have that wall raised, so DT's got into the main base.
Wow.
And I mean, I think it got 2 or 3 depots. It was just like, that DT just kept
He was
killing
having
units.
fun. He was sharpening his blade on plenty of Terran things, but great play there from Jim, taking the first match of the evening, taking the 2-0 over Drunkenboi, which means Jim will be advancing to the winners match of today's group. Coming up next, guys, it's going to be J-Dong versus Ian, a ZVZ, to find out who's going to play Jim in that winners match. It's going to be a best of 3. Stay tuned.